Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a how-to with Tim O'Donnell. Today I'm going to be working on a guitar. The biggest request I used to get when I had a shop was people always wanted new tuners. On this, I'm putting on a set of Schaller gold tuners on this fine instrument here. I like gold. I like the gold tuners. Gold, gold, into the rainbow gold. Now, if you have to drill holes to make the tuners fit into the guitar, I wouldn't advise doing that without a drill press. But sometimes tuners fit right in the hole, but the screw holes, the little tiny screws that hold the tuner in place, they don't line up. So you gotta drill new holes. Can't tell you how many times I've been in the shop, somebody's tried to put tuners on their guitar, and I have to fix the headstock of the guitar because they took a drill, they went, and the drill went all the way through the headstock. So that's all we're gonna talk about right now. These tuners fit right into the headstock, but the screw holes do not line up. So what you need to do, you take your tiny, teeny screw and you find a tiny, teeny drill bit that's just slightly smaller than the tiny, teeny screw. You hold the tiny, teeny screw up to the end of the tiny, teeny drill bit. Grab it in the other hand. Take a piece of tape. Put it next to the head of your tiny, teeny screw. Wrap it around the drill bit. When you get down to that tape, you don't go no farther, and you don't put a hole through the front of your headstock, which sucks. All right, next you take your drill bit. You stick it where the new hole's gonna be. You drill very slowly down to the bottom of the tape. Do that for every hole. Oh, and one other thing. Make sure you like how your tuners are lined up because they can be crooked and backwards and all kinds of silly stuff. So don't be a dumbass. Next, take your teeny beeny screwdriver on your teeny beeny screw and screw it in there. Bam! That's how you replace tuners and drill a hole without drilling a hole through the front of the headstock. All right, the next thing I want to rap about is the truss rod in a guitar. Here's the deal. You got strings from here to there. You tighten them up. Naturally, what's gonna happen, strings across here, they're gonna make the neck go like that. So what some smart guy figured out is he put a metal rod in there, something called a truss rod. This rod gets buried in the neck like that, on the lower side of the neck than the top. This right here is actually what's called a compression rod. All it does is when the neck goes this way, it compresses the wood back that way, which truthfully is pretty inefficient, but it does work. The truss rods you'll see in a lot of new guitars, they're a double way acting rod. So what it is, it's a steel square rod on top. It's a threaded rod on the bottom. When you tighten it, you will see that it bows that way. When you loosen it, you will see that it bows the opposite way. This goes in the neck. By tightening it or loosening it, it's either gonna make the neck, if you got a bow that way, you tighten it, it'll flatten the neck out. In the rare occasion that the neck is back bowed, you can actually go the opposite direction and try to get your neck flat. Now, one thing that pisses me off is when everybody talks about, oh, my neck's not flat. Well, of course your neck's not flat because a string, when it vibrates, is not flat. So if you want your guitar to play the most optimum way it can, you got to get the neck bowed consistent with how much energy you put in the string. So you might ask what I'm talking about. The string attaches at the nut, the string attaches at the saddle. The middle of the guitar, the 12th fret, basically half the distance from the saddle to the nut is the 12th fret. when you plunk the string, you will notice it vibrates a lot in the middle. It vibrates only a little at the nut, and it vibrates only a little at the saddle. If you were to take that vibration and draw the arc on it, that tells you how much relief or how much bow you need in the neck. If you're somebody that plays this hard, you can have a very flat neck and a very low action. If you're somebody that does this, you need a much higher action with much more relief in the neck. So, quick little lesson. If your guitar buzzes from here to here, it typically means that the neck is pushed up in that area or too flat for how much energy you put in the string. So what you would want to do is loosen the truss rod to let the strings pull the neck, pull a bow in the neck. All right, to check the relief on a guitar, how much curvature is in the neck, typically what I like to do is I like to hold down on the last fret, and you can actually see the string goes up and down off of the middle of the neck. This guitar probably has about 35 thousandths clearance, what the string can bounce up and down on top of the fret. My Telecasters, I get as low as probably 6 or 8 because I like to chicken pick. My Les Paul or my Stratocaster, the action's much higher with much more relief. I got a much heavier string and I play those guitars a lot harder. So all depends on your style of playing, on how much relief or curvature you have in the neck. So I got my new tuners. The gold. They're gold. I'm gonna put strings on this thing, tune this puppy up, and play it. If you need to know how to restring a guitar, go back to one of my previous episodes of How To with Tim O'Donnell. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page and check the stuff out. Peace.